Alrighty, hello every folks, and good morning. Welcome to, I guess, a little bit of an announcement thing, a little bit of I just kind of felt like doing this kind of thing here today. So basically, over the course of the next couple of weeks, the schedule is very different from usual, so there's going to be a thing where there's going to be the option for streams and such. Now, usually what ends up happening with these is that, I usually put out a poll and then usually end up regretting whatever choices were in the poll later. And then I'm like, man, this was a good opportunity to finish this, that, or the other. And then we never get around to it, yada, yada. So I figured I wanted to do a little bit of a different thing this time around. So first of all, just today, as far as the video here today goes, we're just doing some casual Armored Core 3, because frankly, this has always been sort of my good luck game. Anytime that anything's happening for any extended period of time, I always do another run of Armored Core 3. For some reason, it always felt like everything would be luckier afterwards. Anyway, with that being said, basically what we're going to do is just every day we're just sort of going to pick something and go for it. So a couple of the ones that I already know are going to be on the list, we are going to be doing a little bit of Ogre Battle 64. Still got to finish up that Griffin only run at some point. If we get around to it with at least one video or stream a year, eventually sometime within the next 2 decades it might actually get done. On top of that, I wanted to do a pretty decent chunk of Tactics Ogre 1 Vision, specifically those Iron Man runs, which I would expect would be a couple of days for that. And yeah, there were a few other random ideas that kept popping to mind that just sort of never seemed worthy of, doing a stream or a video or whatever else. That I figured, what the hell, we might throw it into the pile for the hell of it. I always wanted to do Metal Gear Peace Walker with only the 1911. Simply put, it's just, there's a lot of oddly specific reasons why that's a fun challenge run. I've actually tested around with it a decent bit. It's pretty darn fun. It's just hard to explain why. I wanted to do some Aiden Chronicle, which might again seem a little bit out of the blue there. But not only did it get its DLC recently, they sent me a thing basically to cover the DLC, and then I realized that my save file kind of couldn't yet, so I figured a stream might be a good way to cover it. That was kind of a bit of a whoopsie on my part. And yeah, we'll be doing other stuff as it comes to mind. So yeah, we'll just kind of see what ends up popping out as good choices, bad choices. I don't know, I don't have any specific periods of time in mind, but it's kind of just in between when I have to actually get stuff done. So yeah, we're gonna start this off by doing a little bit of Armored Core 3 for good luck, and then yeah, we'll go from there. Just kind of see how it goes. Now, if you've never played Armored Core 3, you might be wondering what on earth this has to do with any of the rest of the stuff that we cover on this channel, and basically everything. In fact, it always kind of surprises me that more folks didn't attach to Armored Core 3 as much as they attach to stuff like Resident Evil 4, because in my opinion, a lot of the same mentality goes into AC3 that does into AC4, and it's probably one of the reasons that there always seemed to be a little bit of a link between those two, at least for me personally. Also, let's see, is there anything I need to adjust visually? Nah, it looks at least half decent. We'll go ahead and do this thing here. Okay. So first of all, the way that you start this off, turn some of the sound effect volume down so that you can turn the music volume way the hell up. Play it on hard, because what is the other difficulty anyway? We'll just go ahead and call this the good luck run. Why not? Again, just kind of casually doing this. I'm sure that there's very few challenge runs I have not done for this game up to this point. Even the Blenderizer was like 1 or 2 missions away from actually being a full completion. So there's that. Now, for anyone that's never played Armored Core 3, this is, despite the fact that there's many different entries into the series, despite the fact that it's had an amazing one in the form of Armored Core 6, I still think this is the best place for people to start.
Yet uninspired lives of a promised prosperity. As time went on, several powerful factors known as corporations came on the scene.
Yeah, none of this sounds familiar to how we live right now at all, which is always a non-concerning sign.
War upon each other. The controller even manipulated the corporation's war. Always going according to the plans of the controller, but somehow the forces of chaos began to rise.
They sure did. Now, dramatic narration aside, basically the premise of every Armored Core game is everyone's living in a corporate hellscape. Violent destruction through machines has become so commonplace that this is just an everyday job people have. You look through the arena, and there's people just stomping around in giant mechs because they gotta pay their kids' medical bills. So you're basically one of these random jobbers that's given a mech and told, "Hey, go, go blow some stuff up. We need some. This is your internship. Go commit murder, basically." Um, and yeah, that's kind of where you go from there. Interestingly enough, so you'll notice that occasionally the sound or visuals or whatever else may go a little bit wonky. That's an emulation issue. The original version of this was crisp as hell. Why is it suddenly lagging? I just tested this and it wasn't lagging. Well, that's frustrating. Normally, I would do the PSP version. For some reason, I was feeling the PS2 version, but I guess we won't have time for a full playthrough anyway. So, whatever. It is what it is. Now, for no apparent reason, we're going to go ahead and betray Appleboy here, just to show that it can be done. Yeah, you sure are, but soon you will be on many sides, achieving many new interesting shapes. His AI is actually a lot better in the PSP version, as far as I found. In the PS2 version, you can just get him trapped on a building and just easy stuff. Now, there's no reason to betray him, actually, but it's just something you can do. So that's kind of interesting. And it's one of many things that I really love about this game, in the fact that absolutely everything is interactable to some degree. So, like, if you ever run into any pilots out there, you can absolutely interact with them as you would with anything else. The only thing you can't do is officially mark them as enemies, unless, it's like a mission parameter or whatever else. But yeah, if you wanted to betray somebody, then you can just go ahead and do that. It'll actually affect the world to some degree, depending on the severity of what the hell happened. Actually, interestingly, one of the few differences that we see between the PS2 version and the later PSP release is these windows, that they're a lot more destructive here. So, like, you can actually walk around and see into the depressing office buildings and stuff like that. So, that's kind of neat. Just kind of blow all of them open. They still somewhat open up in the PSP version. They're just a bit more of a flat thing. You can't, like, see into the buildings and stuff, which is neither here nor there. It's just kind of interesting. Anyways, Appleboy, would you like to go heroically die to those robots? No? Well, how about now? No? Well, anyway. That's a shame. Who could have possibly seen that coming? Man, what a dangerous test. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. Just workplace accidents happen all the time. By the way, you probably should never actually betray Appleboy. He's a cool dude. I just wanted to show that you can. You can do that with everybody. And yeah, usually the result is just something funny. Like sometimes, let's say you're doing like the later kind of a crest base and stuff like that. Anybody that you kill off there will be permanently killed off because it's like a serious mission. But a lot of the other ones, they kind of give you a little bit of leeway and they just kind of send you a pissed off email. So like if you kill off Appleboy, if I recall correctly, I think he gets his promotion a little bit later. Like he does eventually get another test and he does pass. But he's like he just ends up sticking around in his starter AC longer. So that's kind of neat. Granted, that also can happen technically in a normal playthrough. I forget exactly how it works. It's just like the missions that you get are dependent on kind of like what factions feel about you and stuff like that. So in some cases, let's say you'll end up just not getting certain missions because, well, you haven't gotten the attention of the right factions and stuff. So anyways, we are going to do one thing first of all, which is going to... actually, no. First of all, cockpit. That is always the most important thing to start off with. We're just going to go ahead and pop all them HUD elements on. Like, just get busy, my beautiful, sexy HUD. And then we'll go ahead and switch it to a nice... let's see, do you feel green or cyan this time? I think I'm feeling cyan this time. Maybe. Maybe yellow. Yellow's always been the kind of like last Raven color for me. I think it's just because that game is so freaking depressing that it's just kind of nice to see it here. Also, that rifle does not appear for a couple of games, which is kind of interesting. Anyway, we'll go ahead and pop this one right here. Yeah, I think I'm feeling green this time around. We'll do green. And then we go to the AC test for the easiest part of your life. Now, this is one of those things that also ended up changing during the later PSP release, but as long as you get 100% accuracy and you just kind of sit and wait in this version, that's all it checks for. So, we're just going to go ahead and, let's see, is that going to hit or is it going to hit the walls? No, okay, so we hit that once, there we go, hit that once, and now we just kind of wait. Actually, I forgot to take the blade off. Oh shoot. Well, you know what? I forgot to take the blade off. I forget if it counts the blade in this version. But yeah, take your blade off so that you don't get a counted against you for your accuracy test. Let's go do that. Yeah, it does have left weapon accuracy. Okay, well, we do need to take care of that little problem then. And yeah, so it's funny because in the PSP release they added a thing for like you have to get a kill every 8 seconds or something like that. In this version, they're just like, nope. If you technically get 100% accuracy by any means whatsoever, then you're good to go. And what I like about this in particular, I feel like this is the sort of backstory of Adieu. He's the first guy you run into in the arena, and I almost feel like he was meant to be a hint as to how you do this. By the way, this is just optional stuff right here. So now we can just go ahead and just kind of leave it there. Throw away our rifle. And now we just kind of sit put for a minute. So what's interesting about this is that yeah, we get the first guy in the arena, and he makes absolutely no sense. Like if you ever were to run into the guy, you'd be wondering why on earth they managed to downgrade their starter AC of all things. So to some degree, I feel like this particular joke slash hint slash whatever you want to call it was kind of lost in the PSP version. But yeah, if you look at him, he removed his missile launcher and he upgraded his legs. And the reason that we're doing this is to get an upgraded pair of legs, and also to have an excuse to just kind of do the robot. So, I love that they start dancing doing the robot. I love this game so much. Like, as far as the many FromSoft releases, like, hey, Bloodborne's amazing. The Dark Souls games are wonderful. I particularly love 2 because it reminds me of going and exploring through abandoned houses back in the day. But man, oh man, nothing, absolutely nothing quite reaches the absolute peak for me as Armored Core 3 does. Like, it's just always been my favorite. It's just such an amazing game. It's easy, sure, and there's a hell of a lot of challenge runs that you can do for it, sure. So that was definitely part of it. But it's just so infinitely replayable because of how specifically tuned it is, you know? Oh, I love it. All right. Anyway, let's go ahead and get knocked out here. What's interesting is they actually kind of fucked up the end states. Of one of the things there. Let's go ahead and get our thingamadeal here. But like, if you're doing the robot, you continue doing the robot even after you've been shut off. Actually, wait a minute. Wait a minute. That should have given us the part. Oh well. Maybe I'm misremembering something. Who knows? Oh well. Whatever. Do we just do it normally then? Oh, do you need at least... I think you might need at least 2 weapons. Okay, whatever. We'll put the missile launcher back on. And then we'll go do it again, do it properly and stuff. Yeah, just do the first one. Anyway, so yeah, like if you're still doing the robot at the end of any encounter, you'll continue doing the robot after it ends. If you're aiming a weapon during those periods, you actually will continue aiming your weapon, which can lead to some very funny results. Okay, so we got that one. Pop that one. Pop that one. Go. Pop that one. And already messed it up. Okay. Fun times, fun times. You know what? Forget it. We'll just do it the easy way. Man, it's weird because there's a slight difference in the controls for the PS2 version. Now, granted, I'm not blaming the controls. That's just pure, like, me fucking up. But one thing that is kind of funny, though, is that they have the... Like, as much as the PSP version gets shit for its controls, this does have a tendency to just be a lot more awkward. Like, you noticed earlier when I was purging that rifle, if you do the controls in this version, you can't really comfortably reach all of them at the same time. So you'll end up usually kind of facing down after you end up purging your weapons, whereas in the PSP version you're usually facing forward. But yeah, like, look at this dude. Look at this dude. He's just basically gotten rid of his missile launcher to upgrade his leg parts to something that his generator can't handle. It's wonderful. Like, this dude is genuinely one of my favorite pilots in the series. He's like, what's your first order of business? I know, let's get rid of our most useful weapon right away. I see no problems with this. That's great. Why are you lagging here, too? That makes no sense. There's no reason for you to be lagging, game. It actually might be the widescreen patch now that I think about it. That's the only thing I changed between the different things here. Maybe we'll change that real quick. Hey, you know what? Let's fix that. Let's see if it's the thing that fixes it. Go to graphics. Go to graphics. Where are you? Okay. Okay. See if that fixes anything. Maybe not. Because I tested with this map in particular, and it had no problems before. Maybe it's just having a problem with this absolutely majestic color scheme. Who knows? But yeah, if we ever do like any videos or whatever else, or any other streams of this, I probably will just do the PSP version, because I can record it off of native hardware. You know, old PS2 didn't quite last as much as I was hoping it would, but thankfully you can still mostly play stuff on this, so that's nice. Alright, but yeah, he's usually your kind of immediate tutorial for many things. Oddly enough, one of the harder opponents for a rocket-only run. But very, very easy in any other situation, because he mostly just kind of sits here and gets staggered. I don't understand what's going on! Alright. Anyway, so actually, let's go ahead and start explaining something real quick to kind of qualify something I said earlier. So I was talking about how it seemed weird that that RE4 got attached to a lot more for many more people than something like this did. But in many ways, a lot of the mentality is somewhat similar here, with the actions and movement and everything else being really intentionally clunky. But this also leads to like a kind of a constant strategy mentality whenever it comes to this game, because you definitely see the attacks coming. It's just whether or not you plan to get out of the way. It's not like the dodges are hard to pull off or whatever, but it's just like how much are you committing to offense versus evasion versus stuff like that without putting the cards in front of you, you know? Anyways, so with all of that, essentially what we get is our first missile launchers. So we'll go ahead and do this whole thing where we actually go sell those. Now, in this version, it was a little more awkward. So we're actually going to go ahead and get rid of our rifle. We're going to go ahead and get rid of this original missile launcher. And we'll go ahead and get this one popped on. We'll go ahead and go over to our other one, sell this one. And then go ahead and buy ourselves a nice nifty machine gun here, because that's definitely not the easiest possible approach to everything in this one. It's like machine gun the game. But yeah, the MG500 is just stupidly good. I almost want to go for something else just kind of because. I always kind of liked this one, to be honest. Like, it's a very basic rifle and whatever else, but there's just something that always felt very comfortable to me about this thing. You know, we'll just go ahead and pop this sucker on there. Also, in terms of the other thing, I want to see if I was wrong earlier about them using this one instead of using, what the hell is it? The thing that later became the Marv in AC4. I don't remember the name of it. Oh, well, anyways, it's time for our daily dose of war crimes, because, of course, it's Armored Core, it's what you do. So, first order of business, hey, welcome to your new job. Go, annihilate some striking workers. They unionized, so go ahead and atomize them, you know. Yeah, no, it's definitely not the same sprite, though. It's not. It's weird. It's weird that that is a thing. Yeah, pretty much. And you can make a little bit of extra money by slashing things instead of shooting them, but then you also lose money because you're taking damage on the way over there. Also, if you get these initial missile launchers, you get twice the lock capacity if you're using your original computer. It absolutely does not make any physical sense to use missiles here, but whatever, it's fine. It's fine, you swim in money in this game. Which is especially funny considering that you're basically broke 90% of the time when it comes to the immediate one afterwards, Silent Line. But, oh well. Pop, 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 pop. And he's gone. I don't know, I like this rifle. Like, it's basic, sure. It's boring, sure. But I don't know, it's got a satisfying pop to it. It's like, pew, pew, pew. Maybe that, you know, maybe that is the same visuals. I'd have to double check. I don't know. I don't freaking know, but I would like, man, a little bit sleepy today. Would like, if that was actually true. If they had the kind of visuals for the wrong rifle in this game. There's no way that that's actually the case. Like, it's almost certain that I'm just completely just talking out of my ass on that one. But let's see. Uh, no, it certainly is that other rifle, though. It's not this one. They did have the visuals for the other rifle there. Did they introduce that thing in Silent Line? Actually, come to think of it, it wasn't that thing in... I think that was in AC2. Huh. Because they do bring that thing back later. Like, it is a... Here, hold on. I gotta check that. One sec, I gotta pause this thing. Haha! I frickin' knew it! So yeah, it is the, let's see, the EWG RF M15, from another... Actually, no, wait. Let's see. The M15 is a right-arm weapon that first appeared in AC2 and later in AC2 Another Age. Yeah, so yeah. I was gonna say, because, like, I remember that one hover dude going and using one of these, and, like, I know I saw that frickin' rifle somewhere. So yeah, go figure. Just kind of neat. Anyway, let's go ahead and pop that sucker off and get back to the thingamajig. Hang on, where's the button to... There it is. Sorry, I couldn't figure out where my emulation button was because for some reason it has this different launch icon that's different from the actual emulator. I'm not really sure what that's about. But let's go do some mission-y type of dealies here. We got Defend the Arena. We're pretty well set up for that one. Or Secure the Mine, which is basically free money. Actually, one difference of the PSP version also here is that you can just completely skip all of this. Also, actually, that's interesting. That's one thing that they did take away from the PSP version right there. The statistical markers on the right side that tell you absolutely nothing. Like, oh, this thing's got better speed stats. This thing's got better defensive stats. Actually, no, I guess speed stat would be like the one on the left. It doesn't really tell you what the actual... Oh, there we go. There we go. Yeah, I love how they have Raven rank. That's adorable. None of this is relevant to anything. Anyway, we'll just do the obvious choice and always bring Cold Heart because he is the basicest and bestest, and also relatively cheap. But they're all priced in such a way that you can't technically bring two of them. But what's actually funny about this whole thing, like, I personally would have loved the option to be able to just dig deep and just absolutely splurge on bringing, like, every single MT along. But unfortunately, that's not a version of the game that exists. Though I was planning at some point to go do a challenge run of just basically rebuilding an MT and then just becoming their whatever their AP value is by just using mines. Just like adjusting health to the mines. Now, you might be saying, what about using a cheat to go achieve that exact value? Well, for one thing, they always end up getting hit first, so they always end up losing a little bit of their health. But for another thing, it's way dumber that way. And also, if you use any cheat to set its AP value to a certain thing, it sort of locks into that certain value, and sometimes it doesn't want to behave correctly. There's a lot of ways that it can sort of misbehave in different ways. Anyway, so this guy and his brick dumb AI are going to just kind of sit there. So that's kind of neat, you know? Yeah, definitely worth the value. Just absolute value for sure. Is this thing a multi-lock? Yes, it does have multi-lock. Okay. There we go. Get rid of you. Get rid of you. Kind of hard to tell what's going on anywhere with all of the smoke around, but oh well. There we go. Get all that stuff done. Hi there! How you doing, Coldheart? A little late to the party there, pal. You know what? Well, good talk. You know, it's nice working with you, sir. It's nice working with you. So that's one of those things that always kind of comes up to me. Like, there was a discussion a few years ago over like many folks, for whatever reason, kind of being, I guess, in denial or whatever else, of just like, no, the original PS2 version had so much better AI, and it's just like, no, it absolutely didn't. Like, it's not even remotely close is the thing. Like, they just, in, like, the PSP version, they will follow you around. They'll go to the same rooms that you do. They'll try to do, you know, helpful things. And this one, they're just like, nope, I'm going to do my set pattern and occasionally just walk into walls. It's fun. Anyway. So eventually, maybe we missed one over there. Maybe that's what he's doing. Maybe I'm wrong on something. Hold on. Am I wrong on the thingy? Am I wrong on the thingy? It's possible. That would be kind of cool if he's secretly trying to do a smart thing. No, he just went into the wrong room with somebody right here. Okay, cool. That's fine. That's fine. I was about to give him credit, but no credit due this time. No credit due this time. Actually, they're right next to each other. Can we get the double? Nope. Nope. This initial laser blade really sucks, though. Pop, pop. That is one of those things that AC6 really changed a ton. Where, like, you go from your starter blade being basically a knife to suddenly being one of the best weapons in the game. That's fun, though. Dude, don't get me wrong. I love AC6. It's just... dude, AC3. AC3 is my freaking, like, just... I love this game. It is my baby, and I love it. Like I said, just it's one of those ones that I love to replay regularly. And while this originally started back when it was on the PS2, I mean, like I have weird memories of just like my mom cheating on my dad, hearing weird noises in the background while going and replaying AC3 for the millionth time. Weird memories, weird memories. Life is like that sometimes. But, also, I love how their estimated success chance is 65% here. Like, how do you figure? I can walk forward and this mission will complete itself. What are you talking about? But yeah, no, I mean, granted, there are moments when this one can go a little bit dire for some builds because they've got a lot of missiles, but for the most part, it's super freaking easy. Especially once Guy Dawes ends up showing up, who, interestingly enough, is also somebody that you can betray. So that's also kind of neat. It's one of those cool things about starting you off with a laser blade, and actually one of those things that was a bit of a bummer once they got to AC4, where you also technically, I don't think you could actually harm your allies anymore in that one, if I recall. But it's been a bit of a minute, so I don't know. Anyways, funky camera controls aside. Also, I'm not entirely sure what they're hoping to take over here, all things considered. Like, there's just not much here. But oh well. Actually, come to think of it, this one was specifically mentioned in a guide from back in the day, which is like how to effectively play Armored Core and stuff like that. And one of the things that they mentioned was like, as is normal in every Armored Core game, like you have to make sure to, like, if you can't figure out anything else, make sure to always at least bring a rifle with around 200 rounds. And funny part is that is basically every rifle. You could have just said get a rifle, because they're going to be stronger, but they're going to be about the same value as the ones with 200 rounds, or the ones that have more ammo will, generally speaking, have less power to make up for having, you know, kind of more ammo there. Now, they could have skipped that whole thing, and instead of saying get a rifle, they could have said get, like, the 1,000-round machine gun, because that thing is, you know, preposterous value, but for some reason they were just, like, really dead set on a rifle. And I just remember that being a really weird standout thing, because it's just like, I know I personally like rifles, but, like, they're objectively not very good. so, you know, that's kind of what it is there. Also, interestingly enough, if you do kill this guy, you do get your paycheck back, I believe, so we'll go ahead and do that. He also tends to burn through most of his shotgun ammo pretty quick, because those arms have basically none of it. If I recall correctly, his radiator isn't very good, so rifle should overheat him. But it's kind of a little bit of a thing. Honestly, it's harder to kill him than it is to complete the mission. Usually you want to upgrade your blade to some degree if you're trying to do that. But hey, we'll go ahead and try to make it a little bit harder, right? Because obviously you can't lock onto him, so that's a little bit of a thing. Now, we could target stuff behind him. Like, we could. Not going to, but we could. So there's that. Like, if you just leave him off on his own, he'll gladly stomp through everything here. Easiest way is if he gets himself stuck in one of these little alcoves. And at that point, you can just kind of repeatedly cut him down over and over. He is a lightweight, obviously, so not exactly very physically durable. Especially if you're running, like, shotguns or something, he's going to have a bit of a hard time surviving that. Probably should have switched to that, considering I was planning to do this, but I won't. There we go. Yeah, he might actually survive this anyway. You can actually also create a situation where you like kill him off right as the mission ends. So like he'll end up being pissed and not pissed at the same time. He's like, "Oh, thank you. Look forward to working with you." Like, "Oh, how dare you?" Oh no, wait, he's toast. There we go. Perfect. Okay, there we go. See, he can die. He's not actually dead. He's just annoyed now. Presumably they meant to save him for later. I think you can bring him in as an assist for one mission later. But like, I guess they didn't want to like program somebody completely out of the game if they were ever going to be useful again. And I want to say Cow or Mr. Cow at some point mentioned that there's maybe a chance that in some situation you can kill off somebody that is available later and they will join you on a mission later. But I don't know. That might have been a weird oversight. I don't know. Or maybe they fixed that in the PSP version. They fixed most of the weird bugs by the time the PSP release rolled around, but there also were some cases where, like, in Last Raven, you could get to a door that only spoke in Japanese. So, there's, there's some differences. There's some differences. I'm not entirely sure how that door happened, but it's also extremely oddly specific. Wait a minute, where's the email? No, seriously, where is the email? Did they add that in PSP? What the hell? Uh. Okay, I'm very confused because yeah, you're is it just bugging out? Is that what's going on here? Huh. Well, shoot. I mean, if it's gonna be like that, I actually want to go switch over to the PSP version. You know what? We'll do an AC3 stream, I think, for one of the days there, because I really want to, because this game's amazing. But yeah, I've played its PSP version a hell of a lot more. Simply put, because I had a PSP on me at basically all times. So my day basically consisted of like traveling, jotting down notes about properties and such, and then just being all bored and stuff like that, and then just like any quiet moment, like here you go, duck into a bathroom, play some Armored Core. And then later on, that was also a Tactics Ogre, and then other things as well. Lots of Worms Open Warfare 2 around that time. God, Worms Open Warfare 2 is good. Also, by the way, in terms of the value prospect between these different rifles and such, so like, okay, you got the basic one, shitty attack power, right? Decent amount of ammunition, all well and good. Not terribly heavy. For a slight, like 25% weight increase, you get this rifle, which is about twice as powerful, but has around 20% less ammo. So it's generally pretty worth it. Then you get this one, which is almost the same power increase. It goes down from the standard rifle, and also happens to see a 10% ammo increase, plus a range increase, which is higher than any of the other ones. Plus, also, one thing that isn't mentioned here is that it's got its own special lockbox so that it locks on easier, and additionally also has way higher attack heat than any of the other rifles. So it just like roasts things. But yeah, that thing is an absolute menace in PvP. But I think for the moment we'll just go for the MG5000 because we're about to completely burn through money like nobody's business. The classic noob setup over here. You love to see it. You love to see it. Okay, so let's get this one over here. And yeah, like check out this guy. He's basically 621 from AC6. Like, oh, they got great skill, but something traumatic happened to him. Dude got brain injuries, and I guess that we just let him pilot a kill mech now. Nothing says recovering through therapy like hopping in a giant death machine and just annihilating things. Clearly, it's a perfect approach. Man, I miss the PS2 era. Like, there was just something... I know it's kind of cliche at this point to be like, oh, it's kind of magical about that time, but the magic was specifically how disconnected it was. Like, it's the same feeling that people go on cruises for, It's just like that feeling of being utterly disconnected from the rest of reality, that just nothing can interrupt you there. It's just you and the game at that point. And sure, they were kind of jankily designed, and honestly, that was in many ways to their benefit, I feel like. This thing is so satisfying. It's so satisfying. I love machine guns in this game. Man, it's weird because they got neutered in later releases because they're like... Okay, Silent Line gives you some lighter weight options, which are just good options in general. Still insanely good in that one. In fact, they're arguably the best thing because they introduced left-handed guns. But one of the mechanics of this game is that your lockbox, that's the area that you can target stuff, is actually affected by your right-handed weapon in that one. Now, it is technically in all of them, but they forgot to make it so that a left-handed weapon uses a kind of separate overlay on top of it. For lack of a better term, it kind of just finds an average between the two for most of the series. But oh shoot, I forgot to upgrade my boosters actually. Oh well, whatever. We'll deal without the pancake head, I suppose. Um, so one of the things that ends up happening is that actually, wait a minute, hold on. If I get rid of that, okay, this is possible. So one of the things that ends up happening is that in that one, you can actually take your like, let's say, machine gun or something, which has one of the biggest lockboxes in the game. I think it's the biggest for all intents and purposes. And you can make it so that come on, pancake. Yeah, you thought I was going to overboost. But you can make it so that, let's say you have a sniper rifle in your left hand and a machine gun in your right hand. It ends up creating this interesting juxtaposition where you've got a rifle with kind of like machine gun aim. And crap. Well, later! I should get a better booster and generator. In fact, we'll just sell the missiles at this point. The MG500 and the howitzer is stupidly overpowered, and we just lost like $800 for nothing. Oh well. We'll go back and defend the bridge a second time. Conveniently, they won't move. And let's go to the garage. Let's go ahead and sell some stuff. Like, for example, our missile launcher over here. Actually, also sell the boosters, also sell the generator, and then we'll just get all new stuff in there. We don't really have to worry about upgrading our generator at any point. Probably get a new FCS while we're at it. Like, I'm explaining none of these mechanics, and things are just sort of happening. Sorry. That's how it goes sometimes. All right, here. Why are we switching to this thing? Because it's cheap and super efficient. Generator-wise, why are we switching over to, let's say, any of these? Yeah, the one I want isn't really here. Well, whatever. We'll stick to this one because of the big red zone, and just have just enough to be able to get our upgraded FCS here. And what we want is just a larger lock area. So, unfortunately, the numbers in this one don't exactly tell you that much, which is weird. So anyways, we'll just kind of go for something here. I like my triangle one here, but honestly, it's not really an optimal choice. Once we get the WS1 later, it's kind of the single target one that I always end up going for. Oh well. We'll forget the mission. We'll go after this guy with his volcano setup. I feel like a volcano needs to be fought in the desert, where you go with horses that have no names and such. And yeah. All right. Also, I'm just about out of time, so we'll be wrapping it up relatively soonish here. Probably just go back and do that bridge, and then we'll get back to this one. And then we'll see if anybody shows up for any streamy type deals later. But yeah, this is like how it ends up going for this one, and I'm hitting the wrong button because I'm trying to hit the PSP controls. But like, because they don't have a separation between the two different arms yet, right now I've got what is basically a grenade launcher that is tied to my machine gun, which is in no way broken whatsoever. It's just perfectly, totally balanced. What are you talking about? Now, it does take a little bit longer to lock on. That's why it's occasionally not tracking as it should. Again, I'm just kind of doing this poorly right now, but for the most part, it's usually pretty good about locking on. In fact, one of the things that happens during the speedrun is a setup very similar to this, because this is the kind of like high-power machine gun here. But they usually use the flamethrower, and I've made the case a few times now that I think a lot of things could be improved through tricky use of the howitzer, but that's kind of the thing there. It's like tricky use. Like, there's already enough kind of precise movement going on that I'm pretty sure nobody would want to try it that way, but I mean, I tried a speedrun of it at some point, but then wound up being way off, so, eh. Oh well, oh well. Alright.
A raven. I guess they decided to ignore our warning.
Yep, and they're still just kind of hanging out. Thankfully, it's still nighttime. They just pulled us out of the ravine. Came back and got refitted. Pop, pop, pop. Alright, get rid of our howitzer real quick to save on a little bit of weight, because that thing does weigh an absolute ton. Like, not as much as you'd think, but still more than you'd hope, if that makes sense. Kind of quietly nudge over here. Alright. Use the wrong buttons, because I'm not on a PSP right now. We got the high efficiency stuff, so we'll be able to just do that instead. Alright, there we go. Now we'll pick up our part, which somebody went out of their way to go and replant here. Kind of a dick move, honestly, but whatever. Now, this is the way you're supposed to do it. And now that we've got a bit more energy efficiency going on, we can kind of go this way. There we go, he's gone. We don't want to land on this portion of the bridge because it will fall. Or actually, it's the other portion. Whatever. It's fine. If I recall, we can actually... I was kind of hoping that he would go with it. And I guess it would make sense that they would know they are working on this thing after all. As I said, kind of our daily dose of just like, somebody unionized, time to go blow them away. Welcome to Armored Core. Alright, and now we hang out over here. And then we fall off the bridge in the outro. Later. I love this game. But yeah, if you've never played any version of Armored Core 3, you absolutely should. And I've been emailing FromSoft for years at this point, asking for a re-release, and they never want to re-release it, and that's just super tragic to me. This game deserves a re-release. Yeah, there's one of the characters that can be killed off along with her brother later. Do we do one more? Defend the monorail? Defend testing grounds, why not? Like, woefully unprepared for this one. But I just find it interesting that it's here. Actually, that one about defending the monorail is the one where we would see Appleboy again. Now, when she says they've sent an advanced element, what they really mean is that there's infinite enemies here. So, you know. So there's that. Also, this is kind of implied to be the scene from the intro, but not really. Because, like, it's got the same music. It's got somewhat similar enemies. Like, we see them using the Walker MTs, we see them using helicopters. They don't have the, I don't remember what the actual name of the MT is, but Dumas uses one. So, the Dumas MTs, as I like to call them. Also, these helicopters take a lot more shots than they do in the intro. Kind of ridiculous, honestly. Also, the people replacing windows in this universe must absolutely make bank, because, like, these things get blown out all the time. Interestingly enough, there's actually one change that they made in... I want to say that it was actually changed in the PSP version, maybe, where more of them blow out if you use your boosters next to the windows. Oh, shoot. Whoops. It's okay, you saw nothing. Everything was fine, it was handled, and then we left. So, yeah. You know what? That's fine. You know, Regina never managed to complete her test. It's okay. It's fine. We don't. You know, we're gonna go to defend the monorail instead. It's fine. And in fact, we'll go ahead and hire Mr. Appleboy over here, who is not here currently. Again, did that change in the PSP version? I could have. Maybe it is only in the PS2 version that Appleboy doesn't appear. Because, like, he is here as one of the ones in the PSP version. I'm, like, 99% certain. Oh, well. Again, we'll be doing the PSP version later. But yeah, maybe he doesn't appear in the PS2 version and he does in the PSP version. That's the theory I'm going to go with. Like most of the time, since I can only play this on Steam Deck currently, and it's usually just the the Vita that I always have in my pocket, I don't necessarily compare them that often. But it actually might be a fun video to do at some point. Also, I should probably slap the radar back on this thing. I don't have one currently. I'm glad you have a radar. I don't. I keep forgetting to reinstall that thing. I don't even know where the mission area ends. That's why I keep flying out of bounds. Then again, granted, most of the time, whenever I'm going and replaying this, I'm usually too cheap to hire the consorts unless it's funny. So maybe that's part of it. Maybe. Maybe my brain just leaked out of my ear one day and I just never noticed. Any one of these is realistically possible if we're honest. But yeah, no kidding. Yeah, they actually have a bunch of little voice lines and stuff in the background. But you usually don't get to hear them. Because they don't have a voice effect, like they don't have a voice line slider as of yet. So usually you just hear them as like little noises in the background, like you're not meant to hear them. Not really sure why they did it that way. Because it seems like something that we would expect out of Armored Core lore at some point. It's like get all of those voice lines together. It's like I want to hear the full story of Fragile. Want to know about that time that he got absolutely freaking whooped in Fauna Lab? Sir, you are hit constantly. And only on accident, and we're probably the ones doing it. Yeah, they actually will only fire on him once they get into their, like, firing area. If you intercept them early, they just can't even get to it. But has been restored! Dude was just dodging his responsibilities the whole time. Anyway. Yeah, I just like to think that there was never a power issue to begin with. He just like, I need a bathroom break, but we're in the corporate Amazon future, so I don't get to have one.
Area secure.
What does that even signify? Is that like a railway switching thing? It seems weird that they would care about rail safety, like in the day and age of this game, like at the point where entire cities get freaking eviscerated because somebody's bored. But we gotta care about that rail safety. Man, what a game where you can go pretty much negative on every mission and still wind up just fine. It's truly the corporate experience. Let's see what we get for our mail here. Just lots of random things. It's okay. The controller. How weird would that be? You just pop into work one day and the god of your universe just sends you an email. Although it's really bad for security when they're emailing you with what is effectively your in-game social security number. 0824 fuck 3203. Okay, let's see. What got any more missions here? Because I probably should get going soon. And employee rebellion, destroy escaping MT, rescue a survey team. Oh yeah, that's the one with all the... No, that's not the one with all the spiders. That's the sewage inspection later. Screw that mission in particular. Yeah, alright, let's end the employee rebellion. Yeah, so I love how they have a response already in place of just like, oh, we realize that these guys are doing a little bit more than the usual striking workers that we just sort of blow away, so we think it's probably somebody hiring them. Like, oh, this happens that often, huh? Good to know. I mean, I say that. God, don't turn on the news. Anyway. Whoopsie. It's the same button to fire the grenade launcher as it is to press a button, naturally. As you would expect. Yeah, I don't know. I love the arcing trajectory of this thing, and it's like it's funny because we saw the howitzer category come back kind of in multiple different situations. but it never quite achieved the same heights, you know? Like, I just feel like the way that it's useful here, specifically for its weird firing trajectory, you saw some of that in 5th gen, but not that much, you know? Yeah, I really should rebind the controls of this thing to be like the PSP version, because I keep hitting circle for the purpose of making my camera go down, and it's just not happening, so... You know, a little bit inconvenient. Funnily enough, you can hit those gas canisters all you want. They were apparently very serious about the safety of those canisters, despite the fact that they're being used as, you know, explodey go booms over here. But yeah, they won't actually blow up. Objective achieve. Alright, anyway, so that'll be about that. I'm gonna go ahead and get going. We'll see what time we randomly start one of these streaming type deals. And yeah, I will see you at that point. So, y'all have yourselves a good one. Thank you for stopping by. Take care, and I'll see you then. Bye.